Hello and good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight at Crypto Talk Now. Max here with you. Glad to be able to bring the news to you guys. We got quite a bit to cover. I don't think it's going to be a 4-hour show or anything like that, like it was a couple nights ago, but nonetheless, it's going to be a good show. We're going to get into some of the key highlights, some of the big news here in a moment. I'm just going to get a few things going here, such as the proper banners, so on. But yeah, I'm going to welcome you guys. Very, very glad to bring it to you. Um, we happen to have some sideline reporting from the one and only Michael Cornwell, which I thought was really, really cool. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and smash that like button. And it definitely helps us get this particular broadcast out to more and more people out there. In a little bit, I'm not saying at the beginning of the show, I'm not even saying at the middle part of the show. Larry will drop you guys a link to Rumble. All we're kindly asking is that maybe if you guys subscribe to that, because if we hit, I think it's the 25 mark, we can start basically doing like live streams on there as well for we could reach more broader audience, expand. That's one of our goals. So we'd definitely appreciate it if you don't mind, especially if you do use Rumble. So I'm going to welcome the first comment of the day. Let's see who it is. It is Miguel Diaz. He says he's super excited. Well, thanks for being here, Miguel, and I'd like to welcome you. He says if Swift moves 5 trillion a day and ISO 222 is implemented, will that number increase during the 2023, 2025, or to 2025, or slow down because of the coexistence period? I think that number definitely goes up a lot more than what you just see. We've given examples, for instance, of quadrillions, and basically the reason for that is you'll have a new messaging system, obviously with ISO 222, but if they're implementing these particular technologies from the likes of Ripple, for instance, or even Stellar, you'll definitely start seeing more of an incentive for the banks to move the money. All right, so if the banks are moving the money, especially with the likes of Ripple's on-demand liquidity, then that gives them a real good incentive compared to before. Like I always use this example. All right, so you said 5 trillion. Let's use the example of 10 trillion. They get hit with a $60 billion fee with the old system Swift. Now, not being able to get hit with such big fees, there'll be fees, but there'll be substantially lower. And not only that, let's face it, being able to move the money a lot quicker, a lot more secure. So I think we see that mechanism kick in. I know I always use this particular example of for instance, Ethereum. The gas fee is getting hit all the time. But, back in the late 2021, what was unique about that particular model, which is a crappy model because it's an outdated system, is just that the minting NFTs, the person getting a QRC20 token and so on, right? This is not quite an apples and oranges comparison, but what I'm trying to state is the key is the utility. So if the banking sector is using that utility over and over and over again, tied into these particular blockchains and so on, you can draw your own conclusion on how massive that is. And that's why I feel that, these particular, blockchains stand out, right? So hopefully that answers part of, your question. And you state you hopefully it can be answered. If not, I understand. Thank you. Yeah, I don't think it's trillions. I think it's literally quadrillions. And it won't just be one specific bank. You're going to start seeing a lot of particular banks, especially the ones that are on board. Because here's the thing: why would they go through all the trouble of the ISO 222 mandate if they're not going to implement the utility? That would make no sense to me at all. Like, that'd be like I know another crazy example, right? So you're in your construction business or something like that, and then you go out and you buy, because there's a mandate, if you will, right? So you go out and buy a bunch of tractors or bulldozers or just all sorts of expensive equipment, and and this is going to help your business, and you don't utilize that. To me, that doesn't make sense. So as we know with crypto, when utility is actually being used, that's key. I will throw out the example of Ethereum, right? It's like the gas fees suck. Nobody was a fan of them. But at the same time, We saw, 11/11/2021 and all-time highs during that particular point. So, yeah, Bitcoin as well. But the key thing was that utility being used over and over and over again. And with this financial sectors of the world, um, implementing these particular technologies, I think is huge, beyond huge. We'll get into some of the examples of why specifically a lot of this, let's face it, is considered just that, huge, because people want to know about these particular things. And if anything, why not? Why wouldn't you want to know about some of these particular things? That's the way I look at it, at least. So anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and kick it more into some of the comments. KK's in the house. Buy while prices are down. Jasmine is a great risk to reward. Probably one of the best. Some people look at, obviously Ripple's XRP as being, one of the best. XLM, one of the best. Some people, we might even throw quant into the mix, not everybody, because they look at like, man, it's pretty expensive, $140 ish in that particular range. But if you look at the long-term perspective, even that is a nice risk to reward ratio. And how about this? Here's one of the best ones, right? XDC, still very, very undervalued. I'm not into Casper yet, but I can recognize that. Hedera's H-bar, right? Even though it went from, hovers around that 6.5 cent, 7 cent area. I have to double check the prices for today, but even that is still a buy, in my opinion. We're still very, very early. LCX, some of these other ones, right? All right, Rayan, good to have you here, Rayan. What about if our commission about quant is 5%? That will be $250 billion. Man, that feels good. All right, thank you for that. Yeah, that's a good point. We're going to address some things in regards to staking tonight. The whole thing with staking is a big topic. But anyway, Brian states he hopes tonight we'll get a chance to chat with Max and Larry. Hello to you guys sitting in freezing rain with wind. Oh, God, you're in freezing rain with wind. That's not good. Well, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I know freezing rain, but I definitely had to deal with that when I, grew up in Portland, Oregon. But yeah, we'll definitely have conversations and talk about some things and whatnot. Zamir Khan is in the house. Nice looking vehicle. Welcome back. Coochie Boy's here. Thanks for being here. I know we're about roughly 8 minutes into it. We're just welcoming some people and so on. I know normally we start at 9 Eastern. We start a little bit later than that. I just had to have a chance to kind of get here right in the amount of time I did. So, yeah, Phoenix sometimes has crappy rush hour traffic, to say the least, but a lot of places do. All right, welcome everybody. Hit the like button. Would really appreciate that. I did mention the whole thing with Rumble. There's another reminder. So, like Larry states, please follow us on Rumble. We just need 15 more followers. Okay, I didn't realize that. To begin to live stream to more people on Rumble. Here's that particular link, and you could just basically either click on it or copy and paste it, I believe. But anyway, I want to welcome Coochie Boy again. Crypto McDizzle, thanks so much for some of the things you shared for our community here tonight, and really appreciate it. Watch it, Anchor, that's it. I got to grab some ANKR and GRT. Yeah, I might have to grab some more GRT. It's been really performing well for me. I don't want to buy it on green candles, but if it's on a dip, I may consider that. Audio has been really great for me as well. I mean, some of these particular picks that Investor Place had, I cannot go wrong with them. All right. Yes. Sup Mexican. Yes. Am I a Mexican or a Mexicant? Will Max bring the heat tonight? I can't wait till you guys get that little, I guess you could say, that little app button from the game show thing. We'll try to implement that where it's not just so much the game show. Maybe you could just, hit the little thing for the poll, but we'll see. I got to work out there's a few things I got to work out in regards to that, but some good news. Larry and his nephew tested it out last night, and we actually had fun playing it. We actually said, you know what, this is fun. And that's the key thing. You learn about some crypto and you have fun at the same time. Isn't that what it's about sometimes? If you're going to have a game show about this stuff, why not have it be fun? Because if it's boring, then I'm sure we'll hear about that. Right? Right. All right. Crypto McDizzle for shizzle manizzle for show states it's picking up steam, the number of wallets, etc. Maybe time to take a peek onto this harder. Not enough, but around 35K here. May focus on 5 getting into the next 5 months. All right, I'm not going to be able to read everything here, but in regards to the whole thing with staking rewards, we'll definitely get into it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just see if there's a few more people I could welcome, like River. And if anything, I just want to see if there's not any other specific questions. Hold on a second. And if I skip your question, it's nothing personal or anything like that. But I also don't want the show to go 4 hours. All right, Rand, I just bought 1,000 XRP, not 2,000 XRP. I can promise you $500 per XRP, not financial advice. Do your own research. Yeah, I agree with that. Nothing wrong with that. All right, let me see if there's any specific questions. There is. River states, Cypherum is only on MEXC. How is that exchange? I heard good things about MEXC. If you listen to Rich of Common Sense Crypto, that's the only one he recommends, because the way he looks at it is you can basically buy it, and there is no period where you can't just get it out. You could buy it, take it right off the exchange, put it right into cold storage. And that seems like a cool thing. So I don't know about Cypherum. Really, Cypherum is only on MEXC. I mean, maybe it's just for centralized exchanges, but I'm going to double check that real quick. So let me pull up Cypherum. We do have a little bit of Cypherum news for you guys tonight, if you're connected here for that. I'm just kind of double checking this real quick. Yeah, apparently, yeah, MEXC. There is no decentralized exchanges, so strictly centralized exchanges, MEXC and XT.com. I don't know if I can even recommend XT. They got quite a bit of garbage on XT.com. No offense if you're on XT. But I've heard good things about MEXC. So that is interesting. That's only technically on those two. So it is what it is. All right. I have a lot of GRT. Thank you very much. Rayan states, yes, that's manipulation. They don't want. I got it to GRT. I don't know, what was it, 6 cents or something like that. I don't know. Got it. I'm very, very pleased with my GRT. Maybe you're just asking the public. All right. So sorry, I didn't mean to skip. They skipped something. Yes, that's manipulation. They don't want every person to get XRP. All right, let me go further down. I sold most of my Mac and GRT last year. Ooh. Well, maybe that wasn't so bad, because here's the thing. It was your entry point. It's kind of like me. My entry point in Polygon. My entry point originally was bad. That's the whole power of DCAing, right? But yeah, you're repositioning. Yeah, just, that's a good point. All right, let me go further down and let me see where we're at. I want to welcome Brian Dowie. I did see your comment yesterday about the whole thing about you thanking Larry and I and so on. Don't think it got overlooked. I do thank you for that. I also, of course, thanked you on Twitter. So I don't know if you saw that. Sobo's in the house. Welcome back, Sobo. What's up, everyone? Good to see you here, fellow teacher. April Cornwell's in the house. She says, hey, all you beautiful crypto people. She don't sound like that, but anyway, I've been saying that for a long time. She's got the flowers. She's got the epic big Willy Wonka style lollipops. The sun was out. It was beautiful. Well, that's cool. Did it melt all the snow? And Crypto McDizzle says, I got somewhere around 1,000 of them, so it wasn't much of my portfolio. All right. Stevie says, yo, he's back here. You heard about Kraken? Yep. Actually, it is in trouble. That's the news headline. Just welcome a few more people, and then we'll get right into that. So let me see. Binance just bought a ton of Elon. Oh, the Doge Lamar. Well, that's interesting. That is interesting, to say the least. Max always says, to say the least. Well, yeah. All right. If you're just tuning in, please hit the like. And if you're new to our particular show, I'd like to go ahead and welcome you. Consider changing your avatar to something that speaks more about who you are and what you're about. If you want, just helps us identify you a lot easier. We have a very welcoming community here at Crypto Talk Now. Any questions or comments you want to drop, feel free to do so. If I don't get to your comment, it's nothing personal. but we will do our best to recognize legitimate questions or comments. I'll state this much: if you have a crap token and you're from a development team, and I can see it's absolute crap, you could just keep it where you have it, because the way I look at it is, I didn't appreciate the guy who came the other night who tagged us and basically tried to call us clowns. And but I'll just leave it at that. It is what it is. Anyway, Shaman says, "What up, Max?" Yeah, if you have a token sniffer score that's like 20 or something, thanks for the super, thanks for wasting your money on us. Thank you very much. I wish I could send that money back to the people that you basically burned, but whatever. Shaman says, yes, welcome back. I think this is the same Shaman from the Lazy Shaman show, so I want to welcome you back. You might grab some Jasmine if it goes back to the fives. Cool. Thanks for the LBT update. Still at least 100x in my opinion if the V2 goes smooth. And here's another thing. Let's say it doesn't go well. Let's say it goes smooth, but buyer confidence is gone, or a big portion of it, right? Not us. Right? I think most of us are going to give it a second chance. Yeah, I'm talking about. So yes, welcome again, Stevie. So my thing is this: I'm getting a second chance. I think if anything, I can't tell you guys what to do. But I mean, those partnerships, everything that they accomplish and so on, am I just going to turn my back on all that? I don't think so. So if you haven't seen the ALBT update, it's kind of a reiteration of what you already saw maybe the other day. But it's in the recorded, gives you guys a particular outline. I did double check the Alliance blog page to see if there's any particular update. Nothing yet. Let's face it, a lot of times when there's nothing being said, when things are happening in the background. Let's face it, they have stated that by this week, something should happen. Tomorrow's Friday. Just going to leave it at that. I think something big is going to happen tomorrow. Could be wrong. Maybe they wait till the weekend. But let's face it, when it comes to a work week, it would make sense that it's going to be out tomorrow. So I'm not stating for sure be out tomorrow, but we'll watch this very closely. You got to keep in mind these guys operate on, I believe, UTC time. So with that also said, I think that's coming here close, real close. So as soon as we get any particular update, we'll go ahead and update the community. I'll put out another recorded video. And yeah, but I really do appreciate that, Tim. And let's see, is April here? LOL, April. Wow. Interesting. Hello, Cool Cat Crypto. Welcome. What's up, Big Watch Dude? Max CTM fam. And all right, let me see. Did I skip anybody? Well, I want to welcome this guy back, DCR135. Are you actually? Is your name Jose? On, I might be confusing it, but maybe your name is Jose, and you are the guy that's been DMing me. Okay. Let me just go a little bit more further down just to be completely caught up, and we'll kick it into the comments or the actual show. Hey Larry, I appreciate you reading my feedback. You guys are class act. I didn't know if he read. I read yours. I put -Max that way he knows me. But maybe he also read it too. I think he did. Maybe he just didn't comment because I think he might have done that. But anyway, all right. Max can. Yeah, I did read that. I commented on it too. Let's get ready to rumble, and by all means, follow us on Rumble. Max, are you representing crypto at the Super Bowl this year? Well, here's the thing. I might not even watch the Super Bowl this year, to be honest. But if I get invited to a particular event, then yes. Yes, I wouldn't mind doing that. I did see Stephen A. Smith and some of the people from First Take talking about basketball and, LeBron James' accomplishment and so on, which was kind of cool. Chiefs are taking it. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Unless you, I think I know that a little bit this much. I mean, I think both teams are pretty darn good, to say the least. I know Eagles won a few years ago against, was it Brady and the Patriots and so on. So I think it'll be interesting. I might watch the game just for, a competitive side of things, just to recognize, two of the best teams. Crypto Smith is in the house. All right, there's no way I'm going to keep up with all this. So hold on this. I'll sign up for Mexi. Anyone have a referral code? I don't have one. All right, let me go ahead and Oh, the wrong Jose. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that part. Let's jump into some of the hot, juicy news, to say the least. And it basically is some of the news headlines that you guys heard today. We have to recognize what's going on with this because it's pretty big. So let's go ahead and jump right into that. And here it is, straight from abc.net.au news, right? Cryptocurrency exchange Kraken to shut down staking servers for U.S. users, pay $43 million in fines. I already know this, that my friend, shout to Foxman, I don't know if he still watches this and so on. I know he used to watch this a lot on his break. He's one of the guys that hooked me up with my studio mic. So shout out to him if you're listening. I miss you, man. But he was a big proponent for the likes of Kraken. He was always telling me he was very pleased with Kraken. He was a big algo guy, right? And he really liked the idea of being able to stake, like, you know, on this particular exchange. I actually made an account a while back with Kraken, but I never actually bought any crypto there. I know for another one that he was a big fan of, it was Kava, and he liked the staking incentives there. So I'm sure he, you know, quite a few other people are very, very upset about this. So let's jump into this. So it states that Kraken agreed to shut down its staking. They're going to go ahead and pay, $30 million, I should say, in penalties to settle charges that it failed to register the program, in a move that could cause headaches for platforms with similar offerings. On top of that, this marks the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's first crackdown, listen to this, on staking and a common service offered at both centralized and decentralized crypto exchanges, including most of the major exchanges such as Coinbase and even Binance. Now, if you're wondering about this, some of the key points: staking, put simply, is using crypto as a guarantee to be allowed to validate blockchain transactions for a return. That's the nitty gritty. For people that don't know this, let's face it, it's a nice place to put your, take it off of the circulation, if you will, and be able to earn a yield. And that's, of course, the main reason why the likes of the SEC is throwing such a fit about these particular things, right? Staking services are offered by major crypto exchanges, as we know, like Kraken, Crypto.com. There's a few other ones, even KuCoin, right? Well, let's face it, with KuCoin, there's less KYC. They don't care as much, right? Mainly because where they're headquartered and so on. Kraken, of course, agreed to pay $30 million in fines for failing to register its staking program, and will shut it down for U.S. users. It's going to be really quite interesting in itself, because there is quite a few U.S. users on the likes of Kraken. Now, we already gave you an idea about what staking is all about and so on, so we're not going to get into that. But, why does the SEC want users to be protected? Well, let's face it, they like to pick and choose. If you're into crypto and you've been in this for at least 2 years or more, you're not a big fan of SEC, right? Especially with the whole Ripple case. Well, in a video message posted on Twitter on Thursday, SEC Chairman Gary the Gopher Gensler said most exchanges that offered staking services failed to provide their customers with proper disclosures, such as how the company was protecting a user staked assets. Says, quote, according to him, I won't do his voice because, I can't really do his voice. But anyway, when a company or platform offers you these kind of returns, whether they call their services lending, earn rewards, APY, or staking, that relationship should come with the protections of the federal securities laws, Mr. Gensler said. It's kind of funny when you see a quote like this, and then right next to it, is this proper positioning? I think it is, because there is Mr. Scam Bakeman Fraud right next to this particular quote. It's awfully convenient, but anyway. Kraken's website advertises that users can earn up to 20%. And I remember this. This was very popular for a while. Of course, a lot of people were wondering, like, well, the likes of, some of these other ones offer this, right? Let's go all the way back to, if we remember last May, before the bombshell Terra Luna collapse, right, with UST. Anchor Protocol, I believe, was roughly 20 to 22%. Then it dipped down to about 19 and so on. So anyway, Kraken's website advertises that users can earn up to 20% in annual yield if they pledge to stake their assets with the exchange for a certain period of time. The San Francisco-based platform did not admit to or deny the allegations in the SEC's complaint. They're pulling a Bill Clinton from the 90s. You know what I mean? He was the master of not volunteering negative information about himself. All right. In a statement, the company said its agreement to end on-chain staking services would affect only U.S. clients like myself, like many of you guys that are watching here tonight. And most assets enrolled in its program by U.S. users would be automatically, listen to this, unstaked starting Thursday. So if you're affected by this and you're wondering what's going on with what you have on Kraken that is staked, whether it's the likes of Kava, Algo, many others, right? Here's your particular answer. In a series of tweets on Wednesday, Coinbase chief executive Brian Armstrong, no, not related to Ben Armstrong of Big Boy Crypto, said a ban on staking for U.S. retail customers would be a terrible path for the United States. Quote, we need to make sure that new technologies are encouraged to grow in the U.S. and not stifled by lack of clear rules, according to Mr. Armstrong. Now, as we know, shares of Coinbase were down more than 14% on Thursday. Kraken in November agreed to pay the USD 362,000 to the U.S. Treasury Department Office and Foreign Assets Control to settle civil liability related to apparent violators or sanctions on Iran, and invest an additional $100,000 in certain sanctions compliant controls. Now, I want to add to this. The company incoming CEO told Reuters, and we covered Reuters quite often here, in September, the exchange had no plans at all to register with the SEC. And if anything, when they do further investigation into this, they may very well get hit with more fines. I just want to point that out. And basically, since they had no plans or to delist crypto tokens that the regulator had labeled as securities, you see a little bit more info here. It says the settlement on Thursday came a year after a subsidiary of crypto company BlockFi Inc. agreed to pay $100 million to the SEC, and of course 32 states to settle charges, yada yada. As part of this particular settlement, BlockFi had planned to offer an alternative product expected to be the first crypto interest-bearing security registered with the SEC. But the New Jersey company filed for bankruptcy in November without launching the product. So there you have it. That's what's going on with this whole thing with Kraken. Glad to bring it to you. Let us know what you think. I'm sure you guys are typing about it as we speak in the comments. We'll jump into the comments for a bit. Then we'll get into some of the other news highlights that we want to talk about. Preparing for March, ISO 222, why it's so big and why it matters. Most of you guys know, but some of you may not. It may be new to Crypto Talk now, and whatever the case be, welcome. We'd like to share a lot of what we have here tonight with you. All right, let's go ahead and jump back into it. I do see in the comments quite a few guys interacting with each other and so on. We really do appreciate that. It does help the algorithm and so on. I know I mentioned this quite a few times before, but smash that like button if you haven't done so already. And hopefully we can reach some of our goals of 60 or more people here tonight. Want to welcome Grizzly Bear Greg if I haven't done so already. I do see you right there. Thank you for being here, Grizzly. And let's see here. Oh, shoot, that's cool. Loft Capital puts it out. All right. If you're into Twitch, you can also follow us on Twitch. All right, Big Watch Dude states Lift Capital has a referral code on his channel for MEXC. Yeah, I think we're also subscribed to Lift Capital. He does great XRP coverage. Give me just a second. All right. Tim Shea states, just got a scam email that my Coinbase account has been locked. Be careful before hitting the links. It looks like they're pretty legit. Yeah, also double check the actual email address. Anything that looks sketchy, it probably is. All right. Crypto Mike, should I move my stuff out of staking on Uphold? Here's the thing. I don't have an answer for that. So for me, I wouldn't sweat the whole thing. Like, let's say you have staking on KuCoin. I wouldn't sweat so much. Why should we not sweat that so much? My answer is this. For the same reason why we even bought XRP on the likes of KuCoin, right? So it's very they're not as, I hate to use this term, anal, about KYC and things like that, right? There's ways around things to be able to purchase the likes of XRP. So a platform like that, I wouldn't worry about. That's just me personally. I'm not telling anybody what to do. But if you're more, like I'm not familiar with Uphold, you guys speak very highly about it and so on. Maybe somebody else from the community can answer that particular question. That is a good question though. Brittany's in the house. Thanks for being here, Brittany. Let me see. Coochie Boy states, everyone knew this was coming. Can't figure out why the crypto space is surprised. That is a good point because, it's like, let's just look more into more and more exchanges who offer these particular, staking incentives and so on. So, again, I'm not familiar with Uphold. I mean, I obviously heard about through the likes of you guys and so on. But other than what happened with Kraken, or maybe what's happening currently with Uphold, again, I don't know. What are the other ones that you guys feel as though are standing out? Like, for instance, we talk about MEXC. Does MEXC offer quite a bit of staking? Share that with us. It's all interesting to share these particular thoughts and concerns because with all the news going on with this, why wouldn't we want to talk about this? All right. Mr. Lambo's Crypto Talk. Tim, I've been getting those for a while, shaking my head. Yeah, be careful with all that. LA, welcome. What's up, Max? What's up, fam? Good to have you here, Mr. LA. I did see that a super chat came in. I'm going to go ahead and highlight your comment, LA, and get right into that. Let me check where we're at, and let me see who it came from. Well, on the other screen, it doesn't even show it came up. Oh, you know what? Maybe because of the delay. All right, so that's fine. Let me see where we're at with that. It is from Grizzly Bear. Appreciate Grizzly Bear. He states, love your show. Keep up the great work. Peace with you all. Well, thank you very much, Grizzly Bear Greg. Really appreciate it. Maybe you don't want me to call you Grizzly Bear Greg anymore. You just want me to call Grizzly Bear, but I just always remember you as Grizzly Bear Greg. Thank you for the $5 super chat. It's more than appreciated. And I hope to see more of you. Hopefully you're not taking off, but if you do, because, you work and so on, that's totally understandable as well. Always appreciated you, man. You're another guy who came from the recorded section and came over here and made the crossover, right? Like AI back in the day, right? Really appreciate you, man. All right, let me get further back up to where we're at. Yeah, let's get more into this. Mr. Lambo, so you're looking more legit now. Damn scammers. Yeah. Even how about this, guys? Remember on the likes of Twitter, right? You think you're following, like the real person, and like the whole name on the Twitter handle is almost perfect, but it's just slightly off. Like maybe there's like a dash at the end or something like that. So you got to be very careful about that stuff. If they're able to do it on Twitter, they're going to do it with the likes of your, classic email, you name it. Triple C says he just assumes everything is a scam. And Tim Shea says they are mad. They lost all their money on FTX. Yikes. All right. ANKR is a staking protocol. Also, I may need to rethink some things. I think a lot of people need to rethink some things. But it's one of those things. So many scams these days. It's sickening. Good to see Mr. Selmo Foot in the house. Glad to have you here, Selmo. All right, let me go further down. I want to welcome Mr. Michael Montclair. Good to see you, man. I never staked anything because he knew something like this was possible. Too good to be true. Okay. All right, let me go further down. I'll state this much. The best staking I ever participated in was obviously Shiba Inu. And the other one would be Clearpool, because on Clearpool, they used to have on KuCoin over 100% APY. And that, of course, ended, I think, I don't know, many months ago. And they cut it to like 50, then they cut it to 20. But I took advantage of those particular times and wasn't too shabby. But yeah, all this stuff is getting filtered out. All right. GS says VVS, Tectonic, Crypto.com are based in Singapore. They should be okay. Well, the whole thing, though, is I understand that they're going to be okay. My thing is the platform that they're on. So if they're on a U.S.-based exchange, then, of course, if we're working through compliance, right? That's the key thing here is the compliance. Then I imagine crypto.com says, yeah, if you're in the United States, you're not going to be able to participate in this. So what's going to happen to the likes of VVS and TikTok? I don't own any TikTok. I was really thinking about getting into it. Now I have second thoughts about that. I still own VVS. I had it on auto stake. So if anything, tonight I probably will go on my crypto.com DeFi app where I have my auto staking for VVS and just double check that because I've been auto staking for over a year with my VVS. So I wonder if I'm going to get some kind of notice to say, hey, you're US based. We have gone ahead and taken your VVS and unstaked it for you. And, basically, here's your bag, like just dumping it on my lap and like, well, good luck to you. I don't know. I'm going to definitely double check that later tonight because, it's interesting because a lot of times, a lot of people go on the likes of the crypto.com DeFi app. They see all these particular different ones, Tectonic. Was it the other one? Meek Mirror Rat, I think it is. Obviously VVS. There's some other ones, right? Heck, there's even Crow King, right? I used to cover Crow King long before I joined up with Larry. And now all these incentives, if you're US based, are going to be taken away, I would imagine. I don't think, crypto.com is not going to jump on the whole thing of like, look, we don't want to get fines either. Anyway, it's all interesting to see how this is all going to pan out. Coochie Boy, RPL up huge on the staking news. Kind of insane. That is insane. Yep, I was very excited about that. I saw that a couple hours late last night after it happened. Posted on my Twitter. More than happy about it. Sucked to see a couple guys leave, especially Mikhail Bridges. I was a big fan of Mikhail Bridges, but I wish him the best on his new ventures with his new team. And I don't know, as the saying goes, just because you got more talent added to your team doesn't guarantee a championship. But I haven't been this excited about the Suns since they went to the finals against the Bucks a few years ago. And I was very disappointed to see them have a 2-0 lead and then just lose 4 straight. Anyway. All right, let's see here. That's got to make the Suns a title contender with a healthy Durant. Yeah, that's the way I look at it too. The time is now. I just hope to God that CP3 can stay healthy. He is very injury prone, so they're going to have to work out something in which, he doesn't have the full workload. I don't know if they try to save him for the playoffs, but even in the playoffs, like he can perform really well the first 3 rounds, maybe get to the finals, and then it's always a big worry. So I just really hope that the backups can really help him out really well. Big Wash Dude states, Max, can you go back and look at my question? I can do that. Again, guys, if I skip over something, it's not intentional. It's just there's a lot of questions. I'm trying to keep up with the flow, and I don't want anybody to take it personal. So hopefully you don't take it personal because it's not like that. Let me see where we're at. Lift capital as refer coal. Hold on, that's not it. So I'm not seeing your question unless is it further back from that? Oh, boy. Yeah. I'll look one more time. I apologize. I know some people get really upset that we skip questions. It's like, there's a lot of other shows. I mean, maybe you come here because, you feel like we don't skip questions, but I'm not trying to make excuses. Just a lot of times I just try to keep up with the flow of things. All right. Hold on a second. Maybe it's further up. I'm literally going question by question. Here it is. Hey, Max, speaking of Saphirium, this is at 7:28. This is a while ago. Do you know if they have been officially designated an ISO token yet? Well, that part I don't know. Maybe Sean can answer that. Because what's interesting is if you go to their site, I'm going to pull up their site. Hold on a second. Maybe you've already seen it's on their site. is that they are actually ISO 222 compliant. But I think it's also another case, like, we talked about the whole thing with the pay was it the Fed Now payments, where, like, their mainnet is done, they're recognized by Fed Now, but will Fed Now actually utilize them? I think we were talking about that the other day. Let me go ahead and share this. I mean, you might already know about this, big watch dude, but here it is. So it says ISO 222 compliant right from the site, fearing the site, and can seamlessly be embedded with the current financial system third-party plugin model for banking systems. So, I mean, if it is a perfect case of, they're compliant, that's one thing, right? But, again, kind of like the Fed Now service, right? The Fed Now service recognizes that they have this mainnet. It just needs to be utilized. ISO 222 compliant, but are they tokenized? So I don't have that particular answer yet. I'll try to look more into that. If Sean, if you're still in the comments, or if anybody else knows about this, to answer that particular question, that is interesting. Sorry that I skipped your comment above earlier. It's just, again, trying to keep up with the flow. It's nothing personal. I know sometimes I get other DMs from people. Hey, why did you skip my question? And it's not anything on purpose. I just want to state that I have no reason to just skip people's comments on purpose. All right, let me go further down. Let's see. Where were we at before? Where were we at before? All right. I think we're way further down here. That's got to make a, yeah. Okay, I think I'm further down from there. All right, this guy, Mr. Dash, LCX first tokenized bond. And Grizzly Bear says, what about using a VPN service that automatically changes your location at certain intervals? I think you just answered your own question right there. I think a lot of people do that. But the main thing is, if other exchanges, I'm not saying KuCoin, right? But let's say other ones want you to, upload some kind of ID to verify. I mean, then at that point, I mean, it's like, well, I registered from a different geographical location through VPN, but here's my, US based ID. It's like, well, that's going to stop you right there on the whole KYC. I was just kind of like what I told some of my other friends. I mean, if you want it bad enough and you happen to have family that lives outside the US, I mean, there's other things you could do. I'm not going to tell you to come up with like falsified documents. I wouldn't do that. But I mean, if you want something bad enough, you can definitely take other avenues like a VPN and so on. Tim Shea, Max, auto stake VVS, didn't know was an option on crypto.com. I have VVS there. I am way down on. Yeah, they do. It's on the DeFi app. If you go into it more, you will see that there's an auto stake. Now I did that for the long run because my thing was I just wanted something to just kind of automatically do it for me and so on. Yeah, it's a lot significantly less on the staking, but there's also less penalties for taking it out. I think that period that you normally would have to wait. But now I don't even know. I don't even know that's available. I wouldn't be surprised if I logged into it. I'm not gonna do it now during the show. If I logged into it, basically you just gave me some kind of notice, or maybe they don't even give me notice. They're like, screw you, Magoo, and they just boom, all on my lap. Here it is. Go screw myself or something. I mean, that'd be kind of disrespectful of crypto.com to do that, but it is what it is. All right. You are bitter, my friend, because he left Oklahoma City. I see where that's coming from. I would be bitter too. You know what? Here's this. I'm actually still bitter. I'm bitter myself. So I am bitter over the Portland Trail Blazers not basing things off of the failures of their history. All right. So number one, let's start it off with just for a brief moment. We'll get back into crypto. Moses Malone, right? You had this particular, the ABA draft, if you will, right? The spillover of players. They got Moses Malone, traded him away. Look how that turned out. And then on top of that, you have, for instance, this always gets brought up, Michael Jordan. You passed up on Michael Jordan and you drafted Sam Bowie who had a history of problems in college, screws in his legs, all these problems, right? Then what do? You rinse and repeat and do the same thing with Greg Oden. He also had a history of problems, and you pass up on Kevin Durant and you draft Greg Oden. So not only did they pass up on Moses Malone, they passed up on Michael Jordan, they passed on up on Kevin Durant. The Blazers frustrate me to say the least. But yes, if I was a OKC fan of the Thunder, I'd be very, very upset still about the whole thing. And yes, he is soft, but he's also still very, very talented. I still think there's gas in that tank. All right. Big watch dude. Hey Max, speaking of Cypherium, do you know if they have been officially designated an ISO token? Yep, I answered that. My bad. So I just kind of lost my place. I'm not trying to highlight some key spots. I'll just highlight that one and go further down. And let's see here. Durant is 4 years younger than LeBron. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so let's kick it more into some other particular coverage we have for you. We just talked about some of the news headlines. Crypto Mike shared this with me earlier, and I wanted to bring this to you guys' attention. And it's this right here. It says, Game of Trades, this is big. Bitcoin just confirmed its golden cross, 50-day moving average, crossing above the 200-day moving average. Now, this was reported, I guess, earlier today, this morning, right? It's already gotten to like 102,000 views. I know there's a lot of doom and gloom. You know, people feel as though, you know, why even show this, right? You know, it's a red day and so on. You got to keep in mind, like, just because you might have a day of red doesn't mean we're not going to get to where we need to be. I haven't pulled out I should say, done my update for the bull run thesis part 6. And I do want to show you guys some data on that. It's not based off emotions or anything like that. But I thought this was interesting. I wanted to show this to you guys. And, you know, the way I look at it, if Mike is tagging me to show this, I might not show everything, but not too shabby. Pretty interesting to see where we may be going here possibly soon. Now, I get it. You know, the whole bad news with the staking is one thing, right? And then, of course, you know, as Larry would say, the old man coming out of the cave and giving his 2 cents about this, that, and this is another thing in itself. So I wanted to show you that. On top of that, we have some more news we're going to get into. And again, preparing for March, ISO 222. Thanks for being here tonight. Let's jump into some of this. And I'm going to show you this right now. Here we go. And it's this right here, right? So, you know, again, shout out to Sideline Reporter, Mike Cornwell. EU payments regulatory timeline. Let's reflect on this for just a bit. So maybe I could just actually, you know, hold on a second. Let me try to just blow that up a little bit bigger. Can I do it? Yeah, I can. I'm going to shrink this down just a tad because it's like super big on the screen right now. I know you guys can't see it. Just give me a second, and then I will pull it up for you. All right, here we go. Let's share this in a better way. Here it is. So you got this EU payments regulatory timeline. I know it's still kind of a little bit hard to see, but once I blew it up too big, it just got super blurry. I don't want to make it blurry for you guys. So you see how this all worked, basically. And, you know, this dates back to, for instance, May of 2022. You see that, you know, the EC launches public consultations, I should say, on PSD2 review and proposal for open finance framework. And you can see where this has gone. Maybe you can't see because it's a little bit blurry. So I'm going to read a lot of this verbatim, not all of it. There's some key things that need to be mentioned here. So, for instance, October 26th of 2022 was a big timeline. EC publishes its instant payments proposal. Now, right now, we're seeing a lot being featured in regards to just that when it comes to this whole thing of instant payments. Some people stated, you know, this is Ripple. You know, we did a video earlier today about some of these other ones, right? But a lot of people feel as though that when it comes to the banking sector, they already see this whole thing with Ripple. You see the whole thing with, you know, Visa, right? We covered that recently. Big, massive stuff. But here's the thing, right? You also have an outline that goes to 2024 and beyond. And another thing I was going to point out is that when it comes to this whole thing of ISO 222, right? The big thing of preparing for March. Look at what it says here for March. Now, maybe again, you can't see it. So I'm going to just kind of mention some of these key things, right? So it says Q1 2023, which we're basically into, EC to publish a legislative proposal for the digital euro. Now, even here in the United States, I mentioned when it comes to getting regulatory clarity, if you will, I think we get the ball rolling in March, right? I think that's more than a coincidence. You also got to keep in mind we have newly elected officials that just came in, late January and so on. And typically speaking, if you've been following, I guess you could say, these types of things over many years and so on, you'll know that nothing legit, I guess you could say, or the ball getting, or bills introduced, I should say, nothing really starts happening, typically speaking, until March. So I know some people don't agree with this, and that's fine. That's just how I personally feel. But you also got to keep in mind, it's not just the United States. There's other things around the world that are happening. So to see the EC to publish legislative proposal for the digital euro, I think that's massive, because on top of that, we also, for instance, the whole thing with Quant, with CBDCs, what they got going on. I did a video earlier today, I recorded in regards to that whole particular thing with the Bank of England and the HM Treasury. You're not going to want to miss that, especially if you are into likes of Quant. Now, March specifically, 2023, it says ECB new real-time gross settlement system, RTGS, will go live. That's one of the main key things. ISO 222 in the same month will go live. Specifically, March 20th. Big things. Now, as far as the actual time, I don't have that. I imagine it might be, European time, or UTC, whatever the case be. Now, check this out, though, in regards to April 2023, markets in crypto assets regulation, MICA, to come into force. And then a little bit more in regards to this particular timeline. Q2 of 2023, EC to propose targeted review of PSD2. You also have EC to publish open finance framework proposal. And it's just a consistent pattern that we have here. Then by October 2023, by the end of the year, you have ECB investigation phase on digital euro to conclude. So they're going to be looking to wrap that up specifically with euro. You have all these other particular timeframes and so on, but all the way out to the end of 2025. Look at this, DORA penetration testing to start. There's some other specific dates. And of course, as we know, what's going to be the start of this is March 20th of 2023 this year, and everything that's going to be fully implemented, hopefully, by the end of 2025, right? Basically November of 2025, unless there's other particular delays. So it's nice to see this particular timeline. I do thank Mike for it, but it gives you a broader perspective of, I guess you could say, kind of like it's more than just a regulatory timeline. It's kind of like a roadmap, but let's face it, with roadmaps compared to timelines, when people see roadmaps, especially in crypto, they feel as though they need to have a specific date, literally not just first quarter, second quarter. They want specific dates. So anyway, I wanted to point this out. We'll jump back into the comments just for a bit, and then we'll get into the next part of our coverage, which is basically China's huge homegrown blockchain chain maker, which starts to take shape. Really interesting. Wish I could blow it up more for you guys, but I don't have that ability. I did try copying an image and magnify it more, but it'll still be big enough for you can understand and hear it. All right. So yes, is it you, Menelec, that we're looking for? Lionel Richie. All right, let's go further down. Durant is also Longhorn. I knew there were going to be some bitter. Yeah, that's all right. Menelec says Bitcoin is so manipulated by whales. I do not trust. TA is very accurate. Okay. Salamander, hello, Mr. Stanley. Well, thank you very much. Good to see you, Mr. Salamander. Classes in session? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's not been in session, but anyway, this is a different form of it. And let's see where we're at. I guess we are towards the bottom. That's okay. Well, we only need 13 more followers on Rumble, according to Larry. Go live, please. Please follow us on Rumble. There's a particular link. Thank you for that. We will jump back into our particular coverage that we have, and it is on this whole thing with China. and it's huge, sort of. Anyway, so let's jump into this. Shout out to Crypto Mike. It says China's huge homegrown blockchain, which is Chainmaker, basically starts to take shape. This, of course, was originally posted on the 3rd, but a lot of people don't know about this. So look at this. It says Chinese state enterprise blockchain chain or Chainmaker is starting to take shape. This week, Chinese state media reported that the blockchain is underpinned by 1,000 strong clusters of high performance servers and claims to process 240 million transactions per second. That's insane. Supporting the development of Chainmaker is an ecosystem of 50 organizations. That's pretty big. Now, there's another particular, I don't know what we call them. They're a news outlet. They were talking about this the other day. I might bring up their source real quick because they were talking about this quite a bit earlier. I'm just going to go through my history real quick and see if I can actually pull that up. But yeah, it's I don't know. I think some of you guys might follow these guys as well. I'm just going to try to see if I can pull up some history on them. Oh yeah, it's from Redacted. So I've actually been following some of their particular news. I know a lot of people say, they're just extreme right, and so I think they kind of keep it neutral for the most part, right? They give you kind of both sides of the story. But Redacted, Mike, and anybody else who's following this whole thing with what China's doing specifically with what we just mentioned right there, check it out from Redacted. They cover this quite often, so maybe you're not a fan of Redacted. I don't know, but I thought it was pretty interesting. Anyway, we're going to jump more into our coverage. We have some more. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Please smash that like button. And here's the thing. We have some information in regards to quants. And Mike also shared this with me. So I thought I would go ahead and share this on the show. So here we go. And it states from Anava Quamfi, right? So if you're into quant, you have this thing called being quamfy, if you didn't happen to know about that already. Anyway, it says companies reference, by Quant in its latest article in relation to stablecoins. We talked a little bit about this before in regards to Quant stablecoins. Let's jump into that. So Quant is a leader in commercial stablecoin issuance and transactions. Do not sleep on Quant. And look at this. These are some big names. BNY Mellon, Santander, not to be confused with Salamander in space, JP Morgan, ING, Commerce Bank, Mitsubishi UFJ Trust. We do talk about Credit Suisse quite a bit here. The European Commission, you name it, not too shabby. And then on top of that, I want to show you guys this. Let me just get back into it. Greg Lunt posted this, and I couldn't agree more with this. So it says, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Quant, digital asset and blockchain payments. Let me see if I blow that up. I can. So here's the key thing, right? Without overledger. Why is that significant? Well, like it shows here, without overledger, you're going to have to integrate signing method and the native signing libraries, add or pass the private key for transaction signing, know the ERC20 smart contract address and function name and parameters, understand and calculate Ethereum fees for the transaction, for instance, if it happens to be on that, code to a valid Ethereum transaction in the native format to invoke the smart contract function, perform transaction signing with the signing method above, connect to the node with the node's own API, send the signed transaction, and on top of that, consult a blockchain explorer website to check the confirmation status on the transaction. With Overledger 2.0, let's face it, they're not really at 2.0. It's like 2. I don't know, was it 2.37, something like that? I had to double check it. But anyway, with Overledger 2.0, simple to use, balanced connections. One, just add a private key, call the endpoint. And this is where they get some of the praise, if you will, of taking out all these extra steps, to say the least. Or when you hear, for instance, Gilbert Verdian, he mentions about a particular blockchain project wanting to do this. We want to scale up. We want to do this. All right. Typically speaking, like you mentioned, you're looking at, for instance, anywhere from a year as much as 3 to 4 years. With Overledger, he showed some examples, if you remember us showing, especially in recorded, where they were able to get this done in 8 months. And what's the most attractive thing about it? With roughly about 2 to 3 lines of code. It's very impressive because you want more developers to jump on board with this. All right, so shout out to Greg LUNC. He has great research in regards to this, always researching quant and bringing a lot to the table to understand Overledger a lot better. All right, there is more in regards to this. Did you know that Quant Papa posted this in regards to Chat GPT and Quant? Listen to what Chat GPT had to say about Quant. The future of the internet is here. Overledger Network is set to revolutionize the way we think about data, security, and trust. With its ability to replace current internet rails, it's no surprise that this game-changing technology is poised for massive growth. Get ready for a $10 million token. Like, what? Are you serious? Pretty interesting stuff. I don't know. People think I'm nuts for stating $1 million coin by, 2030. Chat GPT. All right. It's like, yes, I understand Chat GPT is new and it only goes back maybe a couple years, but it's still an innovative thing. And a lot of people are fully aware of what, some of the functions that it can do and also what it can't do. Right. All right. Just a little bit more before we kick it back into the comments. I do believe Mike Cornwell sent me this as well. So shout out to Mike. Gilbert Verdian says, fire away. We are thrilled about OVN and what is shaped to be. Since September, with the help of the community, we have been stress testing gateways, updating protocols, Overledger itself, and gearing for launch. We're getting close to it now and looking at time in the first half of 2021. This is dating back. You got to, sometimes you got to take a blast to the past to understand what they have done, especially now and going into the future. It says specifically, we've done a lot of work with the Treasury. Now, keep in mind, I posted a particular video talking about that whole connection with the digital pound, right? So what it says, we've done a lot of work with the Treasury, and I also posted the whole thing with the HM Treasury and the Bank of England. Again, draw your own particular conclusion if you want. If they're specifically working with them and so on, it's pretty big to say the least, especially with Gilbert's experience with these particular companies long before he became CEO of Quant. So yes, done a lot of work with the Treasury and payments and have created a multi-DLT payment channels. Think of multi-chain lightning networks across blockchains. We've even managed to bring the enormously high gas fees down. Isn't that convenient? And reduce them by up to 93%. Isn't that convenient? Streamlining payments for all blockchains. If anyone wants blockchain faster payments, they could come to the Overledger network. So the key thing here is not necessarily gas fees. It's recognizing what Overledger does, having an understanding of Overledger. That should be the focus. And I've said that from the beginning. The understanding of their operating system, Overledger. All right. On top of that, let's get into Cypherium, but before we do, we're going to kick it back into the comments because why not? Let's get into this. Just read one more, which is GS, and we'll kick it into Salamander's particular super chat. GS says LCX looking nice at 9 cents. I think that might be a good entry point. Some people may realize, hey, you know what? I missed LCX. I should have got in like when it was 3-4 cents or so on, and they're going to take advantage of that. Now, let's face it, we're still early on it. I see we have over 64 people here. Thank you for being here tonight. Crypto Talk Now. Really do appreciate it. Salamander states with the $2 super chat. Thank you again, Salamander. We should send SBF and Caroline on a balloon to China. That'd be nice. How about Gary Gensler as well, right? I saw that particular meme. Maybe I could pull that up again. Gary Gensler China balloon. See, and maybe I'll just put meme. Let me see if anything comes up with that. I can't find, you guys saw on crypto Twitter. But yeah, I thought it was funny. Wish I could pull it up again. Thank you for that, Salamander. Thanks again. Really appreciate you. Grizzly Bear Gray says, I was able to purchase XLM, XRP, XDC on this current dip in the market. I'm not sure how much the market will increase on March 20th. Do you have a prediction? Well, here's the thing. We also have to keep in mind, and I think Sean the Crypto Smith put this he made this analogy, and it's very well put. So it's one thing to have the technology implemented, right? But it's another thing to have the technology actually being utilized. So, this is the whole thing of, which ones do we feel as though are going to, I guess you could say, pump first, or be part of that utility run. And they're stating that they think it's going to be, like XRP and XLM. And I think I even said something like, quant and XRP. So it was kind of like middle ground, if you will. But they do make, or I should say, Sean makes a very good point, right? So to answer this specifically, just because we're starting to see that being implemented doesn't necessarily mean that they'll take advantage of like a massive cross-border payment specifically on the 20th. Here's another way of looking at it, right? So let's say you're a specific bank. Just hear me out. This is, I guess you could say, like layman's terms. Your systems are behind, right? Your bankers are literally telling you, and even the tellers, look, these old Dell computers are kind of outdated. They only have, I don't know, 4 gigs of RAM. We need at least 8, some cases 16. We need, Mr. Bank Manager, so-and-so, we need to upgrade. So you go out and you get the upgrades. But does that mean that they're hooked up that day? No, you're implementing this. So I think there's a period of time that they start doing it. But the key thing will be when, it could very well be, the next day. I don't know. But the key thing is, once the utility is there and then somebody makes that call, if you will, for a big cross-border payment. And once that starts kicking in, as we know, it's not going to be one specific bank, right? We're talking about many, many different central banks and so on. I think we do start to see the, price action. That, to me, that would make sense. It wouldn't make sense that it would just stay flat. I don't think it's a case of like your typical crypto where it's just, oh, here's a big event, buy the rumor, sell the news. I think there's a lot more to it when it comes to that. Combine that with some other factors of maybe an SEC loss, right? A win for Ripple. I know some people feels like, man, I don't know, Max. This whole thing, SEC basically won with the likes of this whole staking thing. It's a big loss for crypto. It's a big loss for American investors and so on. I get that, but I still feel as though that Ripple will get a victory here soon. And if we can actually get a victory in March and combine that with some of these other things, I think that snowballs the whole thing, propels it forward. Some people call that like a perfect storm. Could very well be. Great questions, though. As far as my particular prediction, SEC, or I should say a Ripple victory in itself, to me, and this is lowballing it, that's at least $10 per XRP. That's just the way I see it. I think that's the first milestone. And then some of the other particular milestones are the next jumps from there. But I mean, after we hit these big milestones, there's no reason why we can't get to some of these other particular milestones. And, I retweeted a while back. There was a moment in time where, based off, I guess, off a market cap, you briefly had Ripple ahead of Bitcoin briefly. Somebody took a screenshot about that. I thought it was really interesting. So I retweeted about that. It was a few years ago, right? So this whole talk about, it's never been done before. It can never be done again. I don't think that's the case. All right. That's a good question, though. I do appreciate it, though. JC the Man says, hello. Looks like you got an avatar from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Let me double check. Yep. CJ from San Andreas in the house. Glad to have you here. Thank you guys for getting the algorithm going. I want to see where we're at on the particular comments. And let's see, Balloon, 49 likes. Are we at 49? Are we actually more than that? Let me double check. We are at 50. Huh, interesting. All right. You guys are getting that all going. Really appreciate you doing that because it definitely does help. Salamander wants to take a giant gorilla from the San Diego Zoo and basically, yes, fart on Gary from the SEC. All right. Stevie states, have you heard of red date technology in China? They have built a blockchain to rival XRP and Quant. We just talked about that actually a little bit earlier. If you want to, maybe by the end of the show or whatever the case be, you can even do it now, and then you can just refresh the page afterwards. But I would say roughly about 15 minutes ago, roughly in that area, we did talk specifically about that. And shout out to Crypto Mike for sharing it. If you want more info specifically about that, Stevie, shout out to Redacted. They have, I think it's like 1.5 million subscribers. They've been talking about it a lot lately, and they've been doing a really good job with their coverage. All right, JC the man, XRP. Yes, indeed. And yeah, I don't know. I think there's a chance. There's a chance that I could basically, make a profit with that eventually when everything's at all-time highs. And then after that, I'll just basically do a power swap for, more of the triple X's or whatever may still be at a low price or at a reasonable price, right? All right. I'm 11. I like XRP. My dad got me XRP. Well, if that's true, which of course, why wouldn't it be? That's awesome. Then your dad loves you. If that's the case, I mean, wouldn't mind having. I should say I wouldn't mind having my dad get me XRP. In reality, he can't really because he doesn't understand all this stuff. But he is invested into it because I mean, he trusts me and so on. But to him, he just doesn't get it. All he knows, my dad, as far as when it comes to this, he's 88, so all he gets is. All I know is my son basically turned 10K into 120K, and he believes in this. So, it's just kind of like a trust issue. And some of you guys, let's face it, you maybe have a spouse that may have the same attitude. Anyway, Stevie says red date technology are using Overledger. That part is interesting. I was not aware of that, so that's pretty interesting. Big Watch Dude, I didn't skip it this time. Big Watch Dude. Hey, Max, are you familiar with GBEX and how it relates to XDC? I am pretty familiar with it. Or I should say we. Well, yeah, we could say we. I mean, it's me and Larry, right? Crypto Talk Now and so on. And we do share a lot of what you guys send out and so on. So he did a particular intro, I guess you could say, the GBEX and so on. One thing I have found out lately is this whole thing with the auto staking. So that in itself, I guess that would be affected as well, right? Let me know. But yes, it is built on the likes of XDC. I know you guys are very impressed with it. You feel as though that this is a small cap or maybe even a micro cap. Let's double check GBEX. Is it a micro cap, actually? I think it is. Hold on. GBEX. But I mean, it's gone consistently up. They have an unverified market cap of 46 million. Let's go ahead and share this real quick. It's kind of bonus coverage, if you will. So they're sitting at 0.360 1232. Of course, it's built on XDC's blockchain, and you guys have mentioned that it's been a steady rise. I think for over a month, maybe 3 months. I don't know. So let's look back. Apparently, bottom was for the last 3 months. Bottom was basically the end of December. Let's see how they did for all time. All right, so I don't know, maybe actually bottom was September. So it has been a nice climb up consistently. So I think it's a lot more than just the last 90 days, guys. So based on what I'm seeing here, it's been a nice solid increase. Like Triple C is right. Some of you other guys are right? It's been a nice steady increase. You did have some like consolidation right here, if we're looking at this. And you had a nice sideways consolidation that strengthened it pretty well. looks like, well, technically speaking, it looks like it was actually further back from that. So you had, I don't know, August roughly for the most part. And then it kind of dipped down a little bit late September. But safe to say that you had a real nice, consistent sideways action going from late September 2022 to the mid part of October of 2022. Then you had some nice, I guess you could say, blast off to a sense. It came down, but by basically, yeah, December, late September. Wow, some guy just blared his horns. Kevin Durant, yeah, that's crazy. A lot of people in Phoenix are really happy about that. Anyway, that was just weird. That just happened. I don't know if you guys heard of them. You probably didn't, but that was weird. But anyway, yeah, I mean, look at this. I mean, and then it's just nice, steady incline since then. So I don't know if necessarily that's 90 days, but at least since late December, it's been looking really well. So, all right. Let's get more into this. Salamander, Elon Musk might add XRP on Twitter Pay. That'd be incredibly bullish. Everybody's rooting for that. Yeah, I was aware of that. I know you're a big fan of that, Triple C. Avocado toast is overrated. Here's how I like my avocado. All right, I'm just going to be honest. All right, I'm not a fan of canned guacamole. Right, so there's a few franchises that have canned guacamole. Not exactly a fan of having a carne asada burrito with canned guacamole. It needs to be fresh. So I'm very picky when it comes to that. I also like to have fresh avocado. I like to slice it up, and I like to put it on a saltine cracker and I like to put a little bit of salt on it. My grandma years ago used to serve it that way to me, and I got hooked ever since. So I like eating it, sliced. I also like doing the whole thing in fresh guacamole, but I do not like it canned. I think it's disgusting when it's canned. All right, Cypherian helped China with their digital yuan. Oh, interesting. All right, Grizzly Bear, thank you for answering my question. I now have a better understanding. Yeah, no problem. JC the man, congratulations for hitting. Oh, congratulations for hitting ticket. Thank you very much. It was a big milestone for us. And another big goal is obviously 20K and so on. I mean, based off of our stats, I mean, it would basically take like a year to reach that. But here's the thing. If we keep doing what we're doing and stay active, work hard and so on, we can have we're kind of like in our little bull run for the channel. Well, just like with crypto, right? Certain projects could have, boom, all-time highs. So I think we get a few, nice spikes to say the least, but we're definitely getting momentum, and it's thanks to you guys who recognized it. So JC the man, thank you for being here. I don't know if I've seen you be here before, but if I have, I don't want to dismiss you. I want to welcome you. Shout out to, what was he said? It was your dad that hooked you up with some XRP. That's a very loving father, to say the least, right? Your dad's smart, and man, I wish I could have been a lot, at least 20 years a little younger. I mean, we all do, right? But the key thing is, whether we're setting up a legacy for kids, right? Here's the key takeaway, right? Generational wealth. Can we all agree on that? These particular ones are so much more impressive than, like the other day, this guy got mad at me or whatever, he tried to, he was trying to get me going. Like he was trying to, he tagged me on Twitter, oh, these guys disrespected my project and so on. They pulled it up on Token Sniffer and they had a garbage score. All right. Why would I want to throw realistically here? All right. Maybe some of you guys do some of these DJ ones. Nothing wrong with that. Right. That's you. I'm just saying for me, right? I have the freedom of thought in this cancel culture world that we live in. And that is, am I realistically going to throw money at garbage like that? Or instead take that same money and put it in the likes of like something that's still a bargain right now, XDC, or something that's a bargain right now that I don't have an entry point in yet, Casper, Hedera's H bar. Those are still very, very, like they're on sale is the way I look at it. No, I'm not going to go throw my money on garbage like that. I don't want to do that. I've done that in the past. I'm not doing it anymore. That's just me. So, but yes, shout out to your dad, obviously, for researching XRP and not only hooking a brother up, hooking his son up. So, guys, props to JC the man's dad. Hopefully, I got the right person. Well, if there's another person who stated that, then I do apologize, but I'm pretty sure it was you. You eat half an avocado after working out every day. Ooh, Tim Shea pumps iron. He's half an avocado. Anyway. All right. Triple C, all this stuff going to be worth about 350. All right. Here's a question. Hey, Max. Maxican. Well, at least I'm not a Maxicant. You explain commission on quant. I don't understand. Briefly explain. Explain commission on quant. I don't understand. Briefly explain. The commission? I don't know. Are you referring to, for instance, like some of the licensing fees and stuff like that? I don't know. Get back with me in regards to that. Chaka Crypto. Hey, what's up, everyone? To see Chaka. I did like one of your particular videos. I'm glad to see you here. Hopefully you're doing well. And let's see here. Let's see. Future Crypto 007 Lover of Time. What a name. What's your percentage of bag to hold on for dear life, and what percentage will you sell after the first significant pump? Well, the way I look at it is I have milestones. So it also is dependent on if I've reached my goals by these particular times. So if the answer is yes, like for instance, quant. On my quant, if I have the minimum of 20, then maybe I am satisfied with selling off a percentage, maybe half. But I have to hit certain milestones, like 100,000 per quant. I might not be, I don't know. It depends, man. Because with that, there's a few of them which I want to continue to hold. Here's the thing. Some people may say, well, Max, you're backtracking on what you originally said. No, I'm not. It may seem that way. Here's the thing. Everything has changed now based on what happened today. So if crypto staking is not allowed and I can't stake the likes of my quant or my XRP and stuff like that, then that changes things. I have to reevaluate it. Now, beforehand, yeah, I would want, my goal was to be able to, get to some of these particular milestones for quant, like at least, let's say I did eventually get to 100 quant, right? Well, that makes it a lot easier to achieve millionaire status for the likes of quant. So I was considering like, okay, well, I can just, in the future earn yield, right, with staking and so on. But again, everything's changed. And the same can be said about XRP, but it's a little bit different with XRP because we have already, I should say we've all done this, but at least I have basically gone on the likes of KuCoin because they're not as KYC stringent, if you will. So I don't know, man. There's so many different scenarios. This changes it. But all right, so not counting those. Let's say I was gonna do Hedera's H bar. I probably would start taking profits off the top depending on the particular price. How about this XDC, right? So like Richard Common Sense Crypto, I mean, he's got the highest I've ever seen it, like $80. Let's say, for instance, it goes to 40. Are you trying to tell me I want to take profits off the top at maybe 10 or 20 the bucks? I definitely would. I would at least consider, I don't know, maybe 40%, maybe 50% at these particular levels and keep, as the saying goes, a moon bag. So hopefully that kind of answers it. I know I went in a little bit more detail, but that's just the way I look at it. And there's also ones that I'm looking to just do a power swap, which means I hit the goals of what I want. And then instead of cashing that out and getting charged like taxes on it, what I'm going to do is I swap it for other ones that I want a bigger position in. And of course, it definitely depends on the time of the year too. Anyway, the wife says air makes me, I don't know what that is. Huh. JC the man, can you use the custodial account to invest when you're under 18? That's a good question. I don't have the answer to that. Does anybody have the answer to that? River, I really like some LCX. Wonder how it's going to play out. Yeah, I need to get some as well, and I think it's going to be fine long term. I like down there at the Walmart when people. Oh, I get it now. As Larry proceeds to spread the mustard, you cut the cheese, right? All right. Taco Bell, yeah, Taco Bell. It makes everybody do that. All right, Crypto McDizzle for Shizzle. My boy is super solid. We are both tech nerds, and he is learning about crypto. That's good, man. How old's the boy that is learning about crypto? All right, let me go further down. Future 007 lover time. What's your percentage of bag huddle? And what? Okay. I think it was the same question from before. That's all right. She loves her nerd. All right, cool. Revenge of the Nerds. Does the nerd watch the show? That's the main question. I know you guys watch the show from the dinner table. I think you said something like that. But does the nerd also watch the show? You once cut some cheese on an intercom in a movie distributor. Worked 4 years ago. Lou Diamond Phillips came out of the warehouse, saw me, and gave me a wow. That is quite the story. So Mr. La Bamba came out and gave you a thumbs up. That's cool. Right on. You know what movie I still love? I love both of them, but I think especially the first one is Young Guns, man. That was such a cool movie back in the 80s. All right. Anyway. Big watch, dude. Where are you guys buying GBEX? BitTrue for GBEX says Cool Cat Crypto. Okay. Yeah, it can't. It's gross. It has the olive green look. I'm just like, here's the thing. I used to have this thing where I couldn't have olive green beans, but then I realized they actually taste better than fresh green. Hear me out. So a lot of times when I made fresh green beans, it kind of had too much of a rubbery taste. So I actually like the canned green beans, even though it has the olive green look, because it seems like it was more cooked more thoroughly in. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being weird about it. Cooking talk now. No, I'm kidding. All right. So we have some great problems here tonight. We're going to kick it back into the coverage because we need to, because we're almost going to hour and a half mark. I'll read this one. Then we have one guy who would sit and draw cartoon pictures of certain people in meeting and pass them around during the meeting. Hilarious times. That is interesting. All right. So we talked a little bit about Quant, for instance, Chat GPT in regards to all that. Let's jump into Cypherium. We have some brief news in regards to Cypherium. Shout out to Crypto Mike once again with his sideline reporting, right? So look at this CBDC adoption, right? A lot of what we talk about here, especially recently, is regards to all this whole thing of CBDCs, right? So we talk about Quant, we talk about the likes of XRP, but we have to throw Cypherium in the particular mix. So I'm gonna blow this up, unless this is the biggest it can get. Yeah, I guess that's the biggest it can get. CBDC adoption. Where are we now? I should state. Well, 114 countries. All right, which is this top part right here in the gray. Okay, and that was, of course, by I guess December 2022. Back in December 2021, we were at 90 countries. Back in April of 2021, we're at 74 countries. All right, so and then you see some of these ones mentioned where it says, whether canceled, inactive, research to, point of view, so on and so forth, right? When we go further down into this, it shows the particular countries who I guess you could say are implementing this, so on and so forth. So you have the Bahamas. The use case is for retail. That would make sense, right? Because all the tourism they get, right? I mean, you got to have something like that. The technology based off that CBDC is distributed ledger technology plus conventional. They have tech partnerships with NZIA Limited, specifically in Bahamas. But look at the consistent pattern you have here for the likes of some of these Atlantic region areas, right? So obviously Bahamas, but how about this? Jamaica down in the Caribbean, right? You have the retail side, conventional. You even have an e-currency minting of these particular partnerships. We talked about, for instance, Nigeria quite often here at Crypto Talk Now, with the whole thing with Stellar Lumen, specifically with stablecoins. I know this is about CBDCs, but you can't dismiss that particular acknowledgement of recognizing Stellar and what they bring to the table, especially when it comes to retail. But anyway, Eastern Caribbean countries, about 8 of them. I was talking about this earlier. So, I mean, obviously, Jamaica is part of the Caribbean, but I'll be interested to see what 8 countries they are. It doesn't list that. But the consistent thing is a tech partnership with Bit Inc. Now, let's get more into some of, like, for instance, the Brexit countries, right? Or Brexit. What am I saying? BRICS countries, definitely not Brexit. So you have, for instance, China, the wholesale and plus, the retail and wholesale side, DLT plus conventional, a little bit kind of like what we were showing earlier, right? They don't have this available as far as the e-currency minting yet. Keep saying it's yet. But look at Russia, for instance, right? I'm not rooting for Russia by any means, but you have to recognize some of the power plays that they're doing currently in the world as we speak, right? Where they've positioned themselves and basically remember the whole thing with Swift, right? Basically, we were trying to do this thing where, all right, Russia, you're going to suffer the wrath of the West, and we're basically taking you out of, we're cutting, Swift is cutting ties with you, and all these other things cutting ties with you, and they basically did a power shift. And now, if anything, them, China, and a few others have positioned themselves well to not only thrive while, a lot of the Western world was feeling like they weren't going to be able to. But yeah, they have positioned themselves well to not only thrive, but use some of these particular technologies tied into blockchain. So look at this. They got the retail side for use case. They got the technology, distributed ledger technology plus conventional. And then the partnerships. They got the Zero Bank, VTB, Alpha Bank, Gazprom Bank, and so on, right? And then there's some other ones here, right? Obviously, South Korea is big, especially when it comes to the likes of like KuCoin, some of these other particular ones. The partnerships with Samsung, obviously Samsung's big, LG's big in the likes of South Korea, right? RoundX and so on. But it's interesting to see the CBDC adoption. And I think we're going to see more and more of this particular adoption. Obviously, United Arab Emirates, right? The whole entire, area of Dubai. I mean, one of the most crypto-friendly places there is. Obviously, Singapore as well. But anyway, you do see the difference of what is in a pilot program, and you also see the difference of what's been launched. Some of this is the start of this. And obviously, here soon, especially with the likes of Quant, what you have with LAC chain for CBDCs, that's happening here very, very soon. And then combine that with what's also happening with the digital pound. You're going to have the UK on board by, I believe, June of this year, and so on. A lot of things happening here. So when you see Cypherium being mentioned as part of all this, again, I think it's a perfect example when you think about the whole thing of Fed Now payment, right? It's not necessarily saying that some specific countries or this particular technologies and so on will specifically mention Cypherium, right? Like this is from Cypherium Turkey. But the main key takeaway is basically this, that at some point, some of these may very well activate this mainnet, if you will, powered by Cypherium. And when that happens in itself, imagine we could see some price action. How do we know that? We've already seen some recent price action for Cypherium. I believe it was up, was it 25-30% recently? And that's without any of that particular technology being fully implemented or used, I should say. The key takeaway here is this: understanding the ones that are in pilot, understanding the ones that are going to be launched, right? Like a few of these, and then them implementing this. It's not just Cypherium, like, for instance, Ripple's XRP and so on. But the key thing is that utility being utilized. Once it starts being utilized, I think we see the utility run that we've all been rooting for. And as far as how long that run will be, I believe that you see the start of it probably by the end of March, a little bit, and you see a massive run going all the way up to November of 2025. And it doesn't mean it stops there. It just means that, when I use an analogy of, picture the Olympic size swimming pools, right? Where you don't have that. I know this is Cypherium, but we use the example Ripple, the on-demand liquidity where you have the droplets of, that, uh, you know, that water, that liquid, if you will, the liquidity basically being flowed through there, right? The on-demand liquidity. So it's like, the shallow end, the whole thing with Target too. Like maybe we have, you put your feet in to the shallow end, or are we up to our toes yet? You know what I mean? Like you just got a little splash of water, right? But the key thing is when this gets, more and more implemented. So if we're at March 20th of 2023, or do we get up to our ankles? Then by 2024, are we now like, is the shallow end completely full and we just need to get the deep end? I try to put in layman's terms because I want people to understand that's basically where it's at. It needs to be utilized, but you have to have a period of time where it's implemented, then utilized. And once we get to that, it's going to be massive. So, I mean, even if a person didn't tune into any of this, right? They're just like, you know what? I bought Cypherium. You know what? I bought XRP, XLM, some of these other ones. And I just walked away from it, came back by, I don't know, late 2025 or even 2026, depending, of course, on if we're in the next 4-year cycle. It's going to be massive. And this is a heck of a lot better bet, in my opinion, not financial advice, but a heck of a lot better bet than going with a traditional Roth IRA or 401k, right? This is why people were so gung-ho about the use cases of blockchain technology. All right, I'm going to kick it back in the comments for a bit. We have more coverage for you guys. The next segment will be in regards to an SEC major announcement. All right, let's jump down. Thank you for being here tonight. We're at an hour and 37 minutes. Crypto McDizzle says, I hope he says he hopes his Jasmine is around tree fitty. Watermelon Crypto Sugar High. Good evening, Max, the CTM family. Good to have you here, Mr. Watermelon Crypto Sugar High. Speaking of some sugar, give me a second. I know, Max should just drink nothing but water. I get tired of just drinking water, though. I got to have a little bit of a break. I do drink a lot of water, though. All right. Speaking of which, I need to kind of pour this in before the ice gets all melted, because who the heck wants to drink a warm Coke? I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to my Coke and I come home, I want a nice cool drink from drinking water all day. What I like to do is I like to make sure that my Coke in itself has been ice cold for at least 48 hours. And then on top of that, I like to have a nice cold glass or mug, or whatever the case be. And I like to have it in the freezer. And then on top of that, if my Coke is like really, really cold, I like to put ice and fill it up. So it's just the perfect. Anyway. All right, let's go further down. Crypto McDizzle, say Selmo. Hope you're doing good, my friend. Yes, good to see you, Selmo. And let's see here. I know you were here earlier, but I want to welcome you back just in case. We do all hope that Selmo's doing all right. Where can you stake quant? Well, that's now taken out of the equation, apparently, with the whole staking thing. But the answer was originally Binance. So, okay, if you're outside the U.S., you may still be fine. And the answer would be Binance. And it roughly is about 2.95, 2.99% on Binance. Obviously not Binance.us. Obviously, if you're American, well, you're screwed. The whole thing with staking. Which, that, of course, that information was released earlier today. All right. Gassy Max. Gassy. Spread the mustard and cut the cheese. Mr. Freeze at 360 degrees. Who raps that? I know Selma Flood probably knows. Maybe Brian Dowie. I'll give you guys the quick answer. It's Method Man. Anyway. Of the Wu-Tang Clan. All right. Oh my God. Young Guns was my... Yes. Young Guns was awesome. The first one was my favorite. The second one wasn't bad. It's just, freaking Pat Garrett. Anyway. Pat Garrett is a Wild West Judas. All right. Or was he? Did he secretly help Billy the Kid escape? That was kind of like what they're alluding to in the second one. Anyway, no one knows for sure. All right, Tim Shea. Max, the likes of Tim Shea sent you that chart. Oh, you know what? That's right. I'm sorry, Tim. You know what? Tim is right. I even sent you a DM saying, you know what, Tim? Thanks for that. We will share this on the show. I'm sorry. I do apologize. He's right, guys. The likes of Tim Shea did send that to me. So thank you for that. JC, the man is 10, almost 11 years old. He watches the videos and learns about crypto on his own just because he likes learning about everything. That's really cool, man. That is really, really cool. Man, he's going to have an amazing future. So that is super cool. Looks like you guys raised your kids right. All right, Grizzly Bear Gray, nice hanging out with everyone. Good night. Good to have you here, Grizzly Bear, and you have a great night. We'll see you on the next one. Apparently the Mike show tonight, LOL. Well, how about this? The Mike and Tim Shea show. We should get credit where credit's due. Myth Dizzle says certain information just hits right, don't it? It does. I figured he was your son. Pretty cool. 411. That is pretty cool. Please share this live stream on social media if you choose to do so. There's the particular link. Thank you for that, Larry. I want to welcome back Wayneside, who, Wayneside, do you basically come from Oceanside, California? Chad, man, check out Crypto Talk now. I just got done catching some gnarly waves, bro. XRP to the moon. Chad, man. I was out there doing my thing, and I said to myself, I need to join Max, Larry, Mike Cornwell, Tim Shea, who sprays for far away, bro. Like, you don't understand, man. Malibu's finest. Wayneside in the house. Quant to the moon. XRP to the moon, bro. I don't know. Maybe you don't even sound remotely like that, but that's just what I picture surfers for some reason. Anyway. Coochie Boy, Max, you should Google how many cups of sugar is in that Coke. I already know. I already know. I know it's a bad habit, but you know what? I don't have any other bad habits, to be honest. So that's the way I look at it. Some people, they have maybe a bad habit of eating nothing but fast food all the time, or maybe somebody has a bad habit of drinking a lot of alcohol, or somebody has a bad habit of smoking. But whatever the case be, I'm not going to beat myself up, for enjoying maybe 1 or 2 Cokes a day, if that, when I drink nothing but water and I get tired of just drinking water. But anyway. The way I look at it is I have more than earned my glass of Coke. But in the future, when I get more serious about, really going gung-ho on weight loss, I can't be on a proper diet, working out and drinking a Coke. I'm fully aware of that, All right. So, yeah. Yeah, my bad. It's bruh. Yeah. Depending on where you're from, right? If it's a mass debate, it's a hello, brother. You're not allowed to talk that way, Max. You're not from the likes of the UK. And it's not bro. It's brother. All right. Well, I don't know what to say. Can Chat GPT make an NFT? Not yet. Utah, get me too. Yeah. That's a great movie. Cope helps one track the charts. Coke helps one cut the grease when one eats lots of fried chicken or a greasy burger or a juicy steak. Nothing else quite cuts through the grease like a Coke. So, anyway, hold on a second, guys. I have an emergency. I'm gonna have to end the show. I'm sorry. My dad has fallen. I have to go. Over and out. Bye bye.